Hello everyone. This is just starting real quick. I just want to work some stuff out. Make sure all of you can hear us really well. If there's any problems with the stream, let us know before we really start getting into things. If it cuts out this time, I'm gonna say sorry, but I'm gonna just keep going on because even though it may cut out, I don't know what the issue was last time. It might have been because of bandwidth issues with my network. But I still have a local recording of it, so more importantly, it will be up on YouTube afterwards. So if it cuts out, I'm sorry, but I'm just going to keep rolling with it. Okay, so this chat's kind of weird. I wonder if anybody's even in it. Possibly not. Alright, stream is up, tell them to chat. I'm sure people aren't home or they're doing other things like working.
Yeah.
But
it's all good.
Yeah, it's alright. Yeah. So, as I have said, this is going to be the first official episode of my interview series. Last night was a prototype. It'll go on YouTube as well. I had to splice the video together. It was a little weird because it did cut out, and I stopped and started recording again. This is episode 1, and it's with my guest Simone Mitchell. Is that how you say your name?
Yep, that's right.
And he goes by the name Jack Burton. Player, you play at Southtown. You play anywhere else as well?
I'm starting to play at Game Center. They started to do like King of Fighters tournaments there, and they're doing another Rambat session this Friday. So I'll be there for a second time.
Yeah. Okay. So it took me a while to figure out where you got your name from after searching YouTube. I still could be wrong because I'm sure most people think like your name is Jack Burton when they meet you. Because I mean, it's strange to have a full name as your tag, but is that a reference to Big Trouble in Little China?
Yeah, definitely. Like it was one of my favorite films when I was growing up and stuff. So yeah, like at first, my first tournament game that I ever did was way back, and I think it was in '92 or '93 or whenever like the first Mortal Kombat came out, and that was like my game back then, and everyone was playing Street Fighter and stuff like that. But I was like, Mortal Kombat's more my game, and so there was going to be this tournament at my junior high school, and so I was talking all this mad shit about like, yeah, I'm going to beat everybody, like no one could beat me because I'm so much better, like on the arcade and stuff. No one's going to beat me. Like you're all free, right? But then when the game came out on Super Nintendo, because that's what the tournament was going to be on. The game was so different from the arcade, and I pretty much like lost like my first match, and it was a single elimination tournament. So yeah,
that's never good.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make a quick scene transition. It's actually going to be a picture of you, courtesy of Nick Allen. He's always taking nice pictures, and I always look at him. Him and Fixel, they definitely make everybody look really good in the pictures. But I see myself, and I just hate them. I'm like, man, I'm such an awkward individual in real life. It's so strange.
Yeah, I get the same thing too. I'm like, wow, is that really me? It's like,
well, I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I'm comfortable enough with my sexuality to say this, but I think you're a very handsome individual, and I'm sure if there are any ladies watching there on Southtown, they're probably always happy to see you up on the screen.
Oh, definitely. I can always use more women in my life.
But yeah, definitely, Nick is a great guy. Follow him on Twitter. Go to that website. I swear, it's a legit tiny URL. It's examples of his photos. He's a great guy. Yeah, here's some of the things to find you, but we'll talk about that a bit more later. So, what got you into King of Fighters? I mean, have you been playing it for a while? Is it kind of a new thing to you, or what?
It's kind of new, and well, I mean, back in the day, like I started like playing fighting games, like in like around 91, 92, and my first fighting game wasn't Street Fighter; it was actually Fatal Fury. And so that kind of started the whole like SNK fighting game thing and the kind of love affair I've always had with SNK and their fighting games. But I always regretted when kind of like the Great Depression of like fighting games happened that I never got into King of Fighters, because everyone was telling me, yeah, King of Fighters is such a great game, and all the arcades in my area either never carried it, or they carried like an old version. So they'll have like 94 would be cool, but then we'll skip 95 and then carry 96, and then
that's strange.
Yeah, it was really strange. So I didn't get into it, and then when Street Fighter 4 came out and the whole big boom of fighting games happened again, I played Street Fighter 4, not quite the game that I grew up with. I was not putting it on blast or anything, but it just wasn't my kind of fighting game.
Yeah.
And, so I was just waiting, like, playing, and then I would play Street Fighter 4, and then I would pull out some of my old fighting games, including some old King of Fighters that I had for my Xbox, like 2002, 2003 for like Xbox and stuff like that. And then, and then when I heard SF State was going to carry King of Fighters for the arcade, and then I was trying to beg. And actually, during that time, I was begging the arcade owner, "Hey, could you please get King of Fighters 13 arcade? You got to get this. It's so awesome." And so here I am. I'm lobbying for it, and he actually got it. So I was like, "Oh shit! People actually listen to me. That's awesome." And then the arcade was pretty cool, but it wasn't quite King of Fighters. A lot of the things that I've learned about, like tutorials online about how to play it, and it was kind of stupid. I mean, like the rate and drop kicks, and and then the invincibility on Kula's
EX
little thing. Yeah, it just drove me off the wall because I was picking characters that were more like kind of lower tier, but they were really godlike in the older games. Like I was really digging Japan Team in that game, and they sucked. And then I started picking Terry because I grew up with the character, Kyo, and let's see, who else did I pick? And Andy. And so I picked those characters, and Andy was pretty cool, but like Kyo was kind of awkward, and Terry was, well, he wasn't that great. So and then I met Hell Pockets down there. He was trying to get me into the game. I was still having kind of mixed feelings about it. And reading some interviews with people who said they worked at SNK, talking about how the horrible working situation was there, and I was like, oh my god, I don't think this company is going to last. So I actually just dropped arcade, thinking there wouldn't be it wouldn't come on console, and then on top of that they wouldn't rebalance it. But they eventually they announced the console version, and I was stoked. And I was reading some of the changes they're going to make for the console, and I was like, oh crap, this is what the game really needs. And so, game came out, console. I loved it, and I kept sticking with it up till now.
Okay, so yeah, you've been around King of Fighters and SNK games for a period of time, definitely throughout your history. Maybe not the main force in it, but always an interest. That's always nice to hear. Okay, so let's talk about the characters you play, Japan Team, and the positions you play them in, and why you do so.
Okay. I picked, I dropped regular Kyo for EX Kyo because I felt like EX Kyo controls space a lot better.
Oh, definitely.
And I think I'm much more of a defensive-minded player. Like, I like to shut down my opponent's options and kind of going for the kill through there. And so, and actually, shout outs to Sparkster, articles about the differences and stuff. And he kind of reaffirmed my beliefs and wow, EX Kyo is so much better. So I said, yeah, drop regular Kyo. He's, because I don't feel like doing down C all day. I'm much more of a sophisticated person than that. And then went with the rest of the Japan Team. I was spending some time trying to get the order down because sometimes I would put Daimon first, and sometimes I'd get blown up. But and then sometimes I tried to use EX Kyo last, and that wasn't quite working. But I kind of settled on putting Daimon second, and then EX Kyo first because I think EX Kyo makes a pretty good point character.
Definitely.
And Benimaru last because he's just so much more frightening when he has a whole bunch of meter. So I started playing that, and then I kind of got the idea of putting Daimon second from watching a lot of Dako and Zhao Hai videos, watching those guys kind of go at it. And I think one of them picked Daimon second, I believe. Yeah. So I thought I'd try it, and it was working a little bit, and then I was like doing my homework as to why, and it was pretty much working. So I just kind of stuck with that. Although I think I will be playing with the order a little bit, depending on like who I'm playing, because Diamond seems to be. I think he seems to be pretty good with against people who play like Mr. Karate on point. Because characters like I played this really good Mr. Karate player, and he was just frightening, and it destroyed my my point EXQ, and I was like, oh my god! And Daimon was actually saving my ass in that matchup, so I think I may play him first. But the order's probably going to change depending on the matchups.
Yes, yeah. From what I've noticed from your play as well is that, like you were saying, you really like to shut down your opponent. I was noticing that you really have a good grasp on how to control space a lot. Like I noticed you were doing a lot of neutral hop jump D with Kyo, putting that leg out there, controlling all the space in front and above you. You would test things with doing some low hits into some rekas, like a lot of stuff that I've seen, other tutorials going, but you really stuck it out. And yeah, people like Daimon is definitely like a defensive wall. He will make you sad if you know how to play him right. It's like, I can't jump, I can't duck, I can't do anything. What am I doing? I'm just stuck here in the corner, and this guy's throwing me. So yeah, I definitely see in your playstyle that you really understand how to control space. Maybe it's not exactly second nature, but for the most part, I think you got it down. And with lots of experience, you'll definitely be one of the best players in all of the King of Fighters.
Oh, thanks a lot.
So, what do you think about the current system of King of Fighters? Because you've played a couple like old, like Fatal Fury and other King of Fighters. Like, what do you think about the way the system works with hops and rolls compared to like Street Fighter or so?
It took a little while to get used to, because I'd actually taken a long like hiatus from fighting games after around like 98, 2000, just because the scene pretty much died in because I live in Daly City, and the arcades around here just pretty much disappeared. So I took a long hiatus until Street Fighter 4 came out. And then that Street Fighter 4 kind of like got me back into it, kind of got me familiar with stuff I used to do. But it didn't really prepare me for King of Fighters, because KOF is basically a game that you control the ground as much as the air, and it was the air component I wasn't really familiar with. So, and then it was like with the rolls and stuff like that. It was basically like King of Fighters is basically like there's so many different like battles that you're trying to win all these different battles, and I wasn't really quite used to like using like the different jumps, what were they primarily used for, and getting used to that. So when the console came out and I said I'm going to take this game seriously, I kind of like said to myself, okay, I'm just going to learn this game as if I'm a new player, no fucking game history or whatever, just a brand new player getting into this game. Just kind of like not really develop any bad habits or anything like that I've picked up from previous games. So I would, kind of like look at, tutorials, look at videos, practice a lot in training mode and stuff, and trying to get myself like familiar with how the system worked. But man, I'll be honest, it was a bitch.
Yeah, it can be difficult, like especially knowing, because I mean in Street Fighter generally, especially in the older games, it's like, all right, don't jump. If you jump, you're done. And King of Fighters is don't jump excessively, because people will eventually start, figuring you out, poking you out of the air. So it's a more of a like a 3-framed assault, or a 3-front assault, low, ground and high, and
Right, yeah. Definitely. And that's what kind of like was giving me so many problems, like trying to think like that 3-tiered system and trying to defend those fronts and keep those in mind as I'm fighting. Because at first I was playing the game a lot like Street Fighter. Like if you see my old footage, it's basically like me not knowing combos and me kind of just staying to the ground and trying to go for like tick throws, setups and stuff, which wasn't too bad. But I mean, there's like 95% of the game I was totally didn't know of. So like I see some of my old video, I'm like, oh my god, I can't watch this.
Yeah, I know how that is. But it's definitely good to have because then you can be like, wow, I did that really. Like I'm a smarter player than that. Go back and then you really take notes on what you did, seeing yourself as from a third person perspective, and you be like, oh, okay, I'm really messed up. I gotta fix that.
Right, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. There was something I wanted to say. Can't remember now. Oh yeah, like on the topic of playing it like Street Fighter, this game really doesn't have effective zoners as like a Street Fighter, where you could just sit back and shoot booms with guile. I mean, even if you try to do that with someone like King or someone, there's a lot of people, they can just hop over that and just close the gap. So
yeah, and especially with the EX moves too, like they'll just blow right through those projectiles, and I just feel like zoners may do good at first, but they're not the kind of characters I would put like last or depending to get me out of a situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because especially with the way EX moves and things work these days. Excuse me. There's definitely a lot more options to get around fireballs. So on point, when people have no meter, I could see them holding down a team. But yeah, as the order progresses and people start building meter, it can get a little dangerous.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually trying to pick up a zoner just to sub out Daimon for his for some of his bad matchups, and it's going to pick up. I was picking up Kenso for a little while, and he's pretty cool, but I mean he's the character that as the fight goes on, it's just more likely I'm just going to lose him. He doesn't really, to me at least, he doesn't seem to have any OCV potential just because his damage output is so low. And there's so many ways around his fireballs when characters have meter. And but I'm kind of playing around with Psyche right now and seeing what he has to offer. And yeah, so I may bust him out in tournament this Friday, but we'll see.
Oh yeah. What's also funny about Daimon is his ground pound is actually surprisingly good against zoners. So I mean, obviously not like mostly full screen, not 3/4 of the screen.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I mean, like even sometimes when you close up the round, if you time it just right, fireballs go right over you. Which is nice.
It's always fun to think, oh, it's gonna hit. No, it's not gonna hit. Yeah.
So
the hitbox.
Obviously, you have the background with Fatal Fury, and you've always liked King of Fighters. But why do you stick with this over other games that are played in the community right now? Like, what really has King of Fighters hold a part of your heart that you're like, okay, this game is something that I do want to play?
Well, it kind of reminds me of the games that I grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the like the new age fighting games, they have a lot of like comeback mechanics and stuff like that kind of really turned me off because I mean like Marvel would have been interesting to me if it didn't have X Factor. Like I wish you could turn X Factor off, for example, because it's a blatant comeback mechanic. And I think there's ways that you can put mechanics like that in the game without it necessarily being a comeback mechanic.
Hold on a second. I think there's a little hiccup on the side of your internet. I'm going to ask people, does Simone sound weird to any of you? Through Skype, it sounds a little robotic, so I might have to wait for the hiccups to go away. Say something?
Okay. Is everything okay right now?
Yeah, it sounds fine. Okay. Sorry, I guess that was just Jack Robot Burton is over here, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's back. It's back.
It's got robot sound. And those are always fun.
All right, so continue with the games you remind you when you were younger and no comeback mechanics.
Yeah, exactly. So, so basically, those older games, they didn't have comeback mechanics, but they, when you played some of those older games, you felt a sense of accomplishment when you beat someone because you didn't have that comeback mechanic. You really had to, or if you're on the losing end, if you made that comeback, it was spectacular. You felt like, wow, I climbed the mountain right here and I made it through. And with comeback mechanics nowadays, it's like, yeah, I made it through, and thank God for whatever comeback mechanic it may be, whatever. But when I play a fighting game, I want to be, I wanted to be known that like I won a game because I was skilled enough to beat my opponent.
Mm-hmm.
And there wasn't anything like a comeback mechanic that helped me do that.
Yeah.
So it's more of for me, it's not that there's anything wrong with comeback mechanics, but for me it was kind of a pride thing. Like
Yeah.
Like with the like when Ninja Gaiden came out for the Xbox, for example, and I bought it because it was hard as fuck. You know?
Yeah.
They were saying that this game is going to be hardcore. It's going to be like the old games. It's going to, your fingers are going to fucking bleed when you beat this game. And I was like, yeah, that's the game that I want to play, because then I can brag, like, oh yeah, you beat like, freaking Superman 64. Yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah, I beat Ninja Gaiden Black. So. It's more of like a sense of accomplishment, and I feel like a lot of games that are made nowadays, not just in fighting games, but they kind of include fighting games, are more like for like weekend warriors.
Yeah, definitely.
You buy the game, you beat it, and then you take it back to GameStop, and then you say, oh, there was something wrong with the disc, and I exchange it for like another game or something. And, like I want a sense of accomplishment. Like I played KOF 13. I got good at this game, and I stuck with it for a long time until I got good at it. And I'm hoping I can play this game for years to come. It seems like this game has a lot of potential for that.
Yeah, definitely. So is there anything that you'd like to see in a King of Fighters game, like maybe like 14 or Climax? Like, is there anything interesting that you would think of mechanics for the game that you'd be like, oh, it'd be cool if they had this, or I was thinking that maybe this would be a good idea. Is there anything like that you could think of?
I know they did some cool things with like the tag system, adding a tag system. I think with 2003, and I think they did that with 11.
Yeah.
I didn't get to play those games. This is just from what I see on.
Well, 2003 wasn't very good, but 11 was alright.
Okay. So I mean, I wouldn't know. I mean, mechanics wise, I think the only thing I kind of don't like to see come back would probably be the HD combos. Because in some of the older games, like I see a lot of 98 footage to kind of learn from, and one of the things I like is that you have this long drawn out battle, this kind of footsies battle, and there's you kind of have to go through it, and I think that when you have a potential like the HD combo system that can wipe a character out in one combo, I think it's just it just punishes one mistake, and like as a competitor or as a person's watching this online or a tournament online, you don't know if that fighter got lucky at that point. He may have just guessed right. He may not have really read his opponent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna stick this out and just go for it, and it's like, hey, it worked.
Exactly. So I think when you have like a long drawn out like battle, where there's like a long series of guesses and educated guesses that you have to make, I think in those battles you get to see who's the best. Like the first, like for example, like a first to 10 or a first to 50. You get to really see the best, who got lucky and who's just really good.
Yeah.
And I think when you have game mechanics like HD combos in the game, or like an X Factor in the game, how do you know if the guy just got lucky or not?
Yeah.
You don't know unless they played a long, drawn-out, first to 50. So, I mean, I'd like to see HD combos to kind of disappear. I think it's kind of it kind of brings to mind what KOF 13 kind of reminds me of. Kind of reminds me of that part of the fighting game history where every fighting game after Killer Instinct wanted to be like Killer Instinct. Like before Killer Instinct was like, it was more about 3 hits, max, 4 hits max, and then you get your damage, and then after Killer Instinct, now every combo has to have like at least 15 hits or 30 hits, multi-hit moves, except without the combo breakers and stuff like that. And I think it adds an unnecessary sense of flash to the game, but it doesn't necessarily make the game any better.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I mean that's my own personal opinion.
But yeah, I mean, King of Fighters did kind of try and do that back in the day with obviously like, hold on a second, with moves like hold on, with moves like Rio, God darn, those dogs, like moves like Rio's Ryuko Rambu and stuff like that. Like, yeah, you would combo into it, but there would only be it'd be like you're doing really like a 3-hit combo, but it would rack up that combo meter and be like, oh man, look how he's doing all these hits, and then he ends it with like an uppercut. That's so awesome, you know. You have moves like that, and like I can see how they tried to emulate or like make it seem like you're doing like a really big combo, but it's just one move.
Right.
But yeah, I could see that. I hear a lot of complaints about the HD system. I like the way drive cancels work, but maybe if the HD bar didn't last as long, or if it was more like an O2 QuickMax where you would activate max mode, but pretty much anything that you could free cancel would drain the bar a lot, so you wouldn't have things like Yuri's butt loop going on.
Right, exactly. And then the system kind of brings shades of like Alpha. Let's see, I think Alpha 2.
Yeah.
A little bit, and then my own personal opinion is that every hit in a fighting game, I think you should earn it. I don't think you should have like a move that gives you like multiple hits, because it's like, well, what the fuck, you know? It's like, oh, it's like this 35 hit combo. Well, you only press the button 6 times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
or something like that. So I think every hit you should have to earn. But I don't know. That's just me.
So do you have any ideas like how do you feel about the King of Fighters scene right now? I mean, I generally feel that it's still a bit small, still growing. Do you think there's anything that could be done to like help promote the game without, you know, obviously having to be like, well, I don't know, just any way you think that could promote the scene, have more people join in, more people understand King of Fighters might be a game that they want to play?
Well, yeah, that's a pretty good question. From the way the scene has been going, it's slowly starting to get bigger. Like, it's not growing really, really fast, but I mean, LPN is showing up to, you know, Southtown Rambats. You know, I wouldn't think that someone like LPN would be into like KOF, but you know, he's showing up. You know, I'm seeing more and more like new faces show up, and like. And I think it's kind of like a personal thing for everyone who's in the scene. You know, I mean, my personal like mantra is, you know, don't be an asshole. You know, don't be an asshole. It's like, you know, you don't be like the guy online who wins a match and, you know, they don't, and they, you know, they act like an asshole, like, oh, I beat you, or go back to training mode or something. You know, yeah, don't be that person. Be that person that, you know, you beat someone and then you send a message like, hey, you know, good games. You need someone to spar with, you know, like, let me know, like, if you like the game or not, I can help you learn it. I think that's more of like something of a personal responsibility that everyone in the scene has to adopt, and be inclusive. Make people feel like, you know, this is a community and not just, you know, a community of people who want punching bags.
Yeah,
you know?
like if for an example, like let's just say, you know, if people like the top players like Mr. KOF, Reynold, Romance, if they were like, no, I'm not going to teach you anything. You're shunned. Like, it's only for us, you know, old players that are established top players. Nobody else can join our little soiree. So,
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's never.
I felt that was happening with the arcade scene before the collapse. Because as the fighting games got more and more complicated, and it was more difficult for newer people to get in, because it was like, oh, you know, if I put a quarter in this machine, this guy who's like glued to it's going to kick my ass, and a lot of people who play games, they're not playing the game to be good at the game. They don't do that. They play the game to have fun, and that should be something that, you know, as a community, we want to communicate that. Like, you are going to have fun if you know, join our community. You're probably going to make friends. You know, we're a friendly bunch. We help each other out. And what really drives these fighting games is the community. And so if you act like a community, then, you know, you'll get more people. I'm still seeing like KOF growing now, so I think it's not a problem. It's just letting it grow. I mean, you got to remember, like, KOF is still kind of alien to, you know, a lot of players out there, just because it hasn't had the history like Street Fighter has.
Yeah.
And but it's growing, so I feel pretty positive about it. You know.
How do you feel about rivalries like NorCal versus SoCal, or more recently the talk of Southtown versus Ram Nation?
Oh man, it's turning into like pro wrestling now. It's gonna be like, but yeah, that's gonna like ECW and WWF and WCW. Yeah, it's gonna turn into that, isn't it? I think I think it's a positive thing as long as it stays civil. I mean, there's a mad talking of shit like.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just stay up late, just like reading the chat. That is hilarious.
Oh yeah.
I just think like Kant's the next time he has he runs a stream, he should just like if there was a way you could kind of record the chat between the guys, and stuff, and
yeah.
with it, it's just so hilarious. It's so funny. But I think it's great for the community. It helps players get better. It has given me the desire to want to get better, to to beat some of these guys out there. But yeah, I think it's a positive thing. Just keep it civil, and because we don't want some new blood coming in, and then we're at each other's throats and stuff. I mean, the kind of thing like and then speaking of our rivalries, when SoCal came up to Southtown, and in that Rambat, I got blown up. And what was really cool was that Romance came up to me, and he gave me some advice. He showed me, and try out this frame trap. After you go for a hit confirm and they block it, do a standing C into a grab. See if they fall for it. He was willing to just tell me something and help my game out. So I think that was pretty awesome. And
yeah, definitely. The SoCal guys that came out, they're always really nice, really helpful. So everything I said about them having their own little club, that was obviously just hypothetical.
Yeah.
Duck was giving me advice on Huajai, like talking about his pressure. They're really helpful guys. If you could ever play with them in like a casuals match or something, I'm sure they would more than likely be happy to help you out. Because you got to remember, like there are people like top players or streamers like Hans, and like they definitely are bigger names, but they're still people, and they wanted to be treated as such. Just like, hey, it's my buddy, not like, oh man, he's a star. I'm too afraid to talk to them. Like, no, they just be yourself, and they'll really appreciate that. They don't want to be put on a pedestal. I mean,
right.
Maybe some people do, but I'd say for the most part, in the King of Fighters community, I'm pretty sure everyone's very humble.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Most people.
So what's the next tournaments install for you in store?
Oh yeah. It's going to be this Friday. I'll be at Game Center.
Mm-hmm.
I did pretty well the last Game Center tournament. I feel like I still lost some matches against people we would think I would lose to, but I still felt like it was competitive. So I'm definitely going to be there. And then this Sunday at Southtown, I'm going to try to blow it up again and just keep learning something new. That's the thing. Like every Rambat, like I want to come into Rambat at least learning one or two things new with each of my characters, or learn a new character or something like that. And can't kind of keep expanding my horizons and stuff. But that's pretty much it. In terms of like future, I want to obviously I want to pass by Evo. Let's see what else. But in the near future, I may end up having to miss not this week's Rambats, but the next group of Rambats, because I'm still in college and I'm trying to still trying to graduate and stuff. And so that's actually. It's been kind of school's kind of getting in the way. Like it's hard to kind of practice or find training partners and stuff just because I'm kind of doing homework. Or until recently, I was running Combo Arcadia, which I kind of put on hold and stuff, so I can finish school. But
I was definitely going to start talking about that as well. For those who may not know, Simone has a webcomic called Combo Arcadia. The website is there on there, and there's his Twitter. Be sure to follow him. But I was actually looking through all of them before we started, and Like, I'm honestly surprised. Like, your art is very nice. I mean, I don't know what people do outside of King of Fighters. I'm a very, I suppose, closed-minded person. It's like, what? No King of Fighters? I'm not there. Well, not that, it's not that bad. But when I was looking at it, I'm like, this is pretty good. But then I noticed a couple of comics, and I'm just looking at it, and I'm like, something like this seems really familiar. And when I'm looking at it, I'm like, he definitely takes inspiration from real life, but I think I might be able to pinpoint when these events actually happen.
Oh man, I must be doing too good of a job.
Yeah, like, wait a minute, is this character supposed to be like a general representation, or is this someone I actually might know?
Yeah. I'd like to just say no one's unfriended me from Facebook because of it, so not yet. So
those internet detectives are going to be on you, man. You better be careful.
Well, yeah, I'm a pretty nice guy. I'll just apologize and I don't know.
No, it makes for a more wholesome product because it's not like you're lying about people and you're not even putting their names out there. So keep doing what you're doing. It's really amazing.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Is there anybody else that you would like to shout out, or any events or players or regions?
Oh wow! Well, I like to give shout outs to. Wow, there's so many people to give shout outs to. Basically, the whole crew at Southtown. They're so freaking awesome, including Hans and his crew. Roger Dodger, he's always pulling me aside and showing me something new about the game that I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
He was actually kind enough to invite me over his place and just go over some things that he said that I was missing in my game. So that was really helpful. So yeah, big shout outs to him. The guys over at SoCal, they're truly awesome. I met especially some of the Team Chaos guys that I got to meet. Nicest people I've ever met. Was willing to talk to KOF, show me how to improve, but just most of all, just being good people. Mm-hmm. So totally awesome. Shout outs to Japan, because they were at Climax recently and ran a tournament, and I saw some footage over there. So hopefully, some of those guys can come over to Evo and stuff and really make this a good event, or just anyone playing KOF, basically around the world, because it feels like it really does feel like soccer games, and it's kind of cool to see these different parts of the world, share their enthusiasm with this one game, and it's going to be totally awesome. I just can't wait. So and then shout outs to family, my brother, father, and the rest of my family, and then some of my friends at SF State. Yeah, shout outs to you guys. And all that. So if I forgot about you, I really didn't forget about you. I just
people should know by now. I mean, you can't think about everyone, and at the same time, it's probably really hard to be like, well, let me pull out my my Rolodex and just go one by one.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy, definitely. That guy, not that guy, but I'll do it anyways.
Yeah. And then you're probably gonna have to play that get the fuck off the stage music.
Please leave. Thank you. It was nice hearing from you, but please go.
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
Yeah, wrap this shit up. Wrap it up.
I'm pretty sure that's about as much as I'd like to ask you. Thanks again for coming on. I'm gonna drop a couple more promotions in here as well.
Hey, awesome. Well, thanks for inviting me. Yeah, it's been a pleasure, and it was great seeing you at NorCal Knockouts, man.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. I'm like, man, Simone's such a good player, but I'm not sure if everybody really knows who he is. I mean, I feel like you might have just missed the boat for NorCal Knockouts. I really felt that maybe you should have been in there, like you or Jose or someone else, but.
Right.
I mean, not really over anyone else, but I'm just like, oh man, that would have been really nice, because it'll be like a change of improvement. Like, we'll see where you were from here, and then you come to the Invitational and really blow it up. So hopefully next time that there's a Invitational tournament, I'm definitely going to probably give you a vote.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, definitely. I don't know if I should probably keep going as Jack Burton too, because I may start using my real name, because I had something similar like that happened with my my webcomic and stuff, because I always want to spread that around and stuff, and then one of my friends said that, oh, I didn't know you did Combo Arcadia, but I know you did the tournaments and shit. I'm like, what the fuck? How did you kind of like miss that? Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I should keep using Jack Burton anymore and stuff. If people actually get it or whatever. Or
it honestly took me the longest time to figure it out. I'm like, okay, so this guy's name isn't Jack Burton. So when I see him, I probably shouldn't walk up and be like, "Hey, Jack, what's up, Jack?" Like maybe full on say Jack Burton because it's his title. Honestly,
right.
you could do what you want, or you can like shorten it or add like a title to it, like Mr. Burton or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
I know how you feel though. I mean, Walkman isn't necessarily the best name either. Every time I use it somewhere, people generally have to make a comment about how they have an iPod and that I'm a dead format.
Oh.
Even if that isn't where my name originates from, but it just happens.
Yeah, for real. And that's the thing about like giving yourself like a nickname or something like that, because then it's cool like the first week, but then like the second week you're like, dude, I'm already tired of this. I'm kind of glad my parents named me and like kept me out of it, because I've been changing my name like every week.
Yeah, I didn't even make up my name. I just kind of used it because I was lazy.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what went down.
Yeah, it's all good.
But I want to say, give a little shout out to I Play Winner. Great guys over there. They hold it down at Southtown, making sure the streams are out. They're going to KVO in Japan, I think, next week. Also, I Play Winner and Spooky are the ones that are going to be streaming Evo, which is great. I love those guys. Other people, Arcade Shock, definitely check them out. If you need an arcade stick, if you need buttons, if you want anything you need, check them out. They're great guys. And if you're willing to pay extra or be in the area, you can even get it personally delivered to you. I'm sure with a little bit less hair from my good friend Manches. But it'll definitely be quite the experience, and I'm sure nobody will be disappointed. At the same time, the last thing I'd like to shout out, Hell Pockets and Frines is what I'll call it, because it was funny when he threw it up there the first time. It was spelt wrong, but I'm like, you should just keep it that way. And he's like, all right. This is a podcast we've done. I think we've done 3 of them right about now, but follow them on Twitch. Definitely check us out. Usually it's been on Mondays, and we recap the King of Fighters weekend and banter on about other things involving streaming, the game, and whatever. So definitely check it out. It'll be great. Also, follow us. If you know anybody that wants to have an interview, or if you want to get an interview, the best way to contact me is email me at quickmaxvip@gmail.com. And definitely check out our YouTube, QuickMaxVIP. The reason why we put VIP is because obviously it was taken, and we're Vippers, if you know what that means. Good for you. I'm pretty sure the only people that know about that in the community are maybe like, I don't know, Shinobi and Professor. Maybe a couple other people hand down. But definitely follow us, because I'm pretty sure later today Sparkster is going to be streaming, and I think he's going to be talking about Daimon and his options, and talking about Cowder's performance in Climax and stuff like that.
Oh, I don't think I'm going to be doing much homework tonight then.
Oh, no.
That?
Yeah. But follow all the guys on the bottom. Follow Jack Burton, or Simone Mitchell, as he's known in the real world. Thanks again to Nick for having that good photo of him, because the only other photos I could find were like you in the back, and I think the focus was on like Seth Killian. I'm like, dang, that's not what I need. I'm not looking for that. Shout outs to CJ, Soulstar in the back. They're all faded out. Ram Nation guy. Definitely like to see the 5-on-5. I will make it happen sooner than later. And thanks again to you for being able to do this and making my idea actually going somewhere, rather than me sitting on it for like the 2 months I had been and done nothing.
It's all good, man. From my experience of doing anything like that for online or generating content, the hardest thing is to get started. That's real talk.
Yeah.
But you got started, so yeah, your phone line is going to be buzzing.
So yeah, if anybody wants to have an interview, it doesn't matter who you are, just hit me up. If you think that there's a friend that you'd like to get exposure, or a region, like let's say my friend Sparkster, he's out in the Midwest. People generally don't play out there, or they don't know if they play out there. So there might be people out there that really want to know, and so you can just be like, oh, hey, I'm located here, and we play, and other people could jump in and be like, oh, I had no idea. So definitely, if you want an interview or anything, just hit me up. I'll be more than happy to oblige. I just hope that you have Skype and an okay internet connection and a decent mic. That's all I ask of you. And heck, if you want to get in the video chat, I'll do that too, but I won't be doing my video only because it takes away from everybody else. So thanks again, and be sure to possibly tune in later because Sparkster will probably be streaming. Alright, thanks, and goodbye.